Hey, you guys, here's the second bit of that dragon footage. I forgot we were playing for a minute. We're going to play Viva Pinata here, and we're going to play some dragons against him, I think. This is a different build than the last time you saw it. So this is, this is fully done with the meta and everything. I mean, everything had been released at this point, but I think the last time I played this deck was like 50 years ago because I hate it. You have to mulligan a ton with this deck. It's actually not that bad of a hand, though. Battle Mage isn't terrible because he can poke. If he can't attack, he can at least poke. Sometimes that's enough. It's loses life too, so it gets around a lot of bullshit that can happen to you. I mean, he's obviously not going to go off 20 times. So it takes... Holy shit, I think my neighbor's like got a puma or something up there today. God damn, this one's really short. I don't remember this one too well. I watched that last one before I commented on it, but this is more blue. I think this guy is playing Bant. Yeah, he is. And we know it right there because he played, the Terramorphic Expanse. Blue-white shows us if it had been, Terramorphic Expanse is in the blue-red as well, so we weren't sure yet. But that blue mana, I believe, is not in blue-red at all. It's a pretty good setup for us. This guy actually takes a really long time to get going, which, what are you waiting for in Dragons is really weird, but we still get some really good plays off on him that helps us get to that late game. This guy also doesn't do a whole lot that in the early game that damages us. So right here I waffle back and forth between the Cultivate and the Jund Battle Mage because I want to be able to play that Bloodbraid Elf next turn. I really love Bloodbraid Elf. I mean, that thing's effing awesome. The only thing that it sucks is when it tries to get me like a Maelstrom Pulse and nobody's out there, or when it tries to do Savage Twister because Savage Twister doesn't do shit off of Bloodbraid Elf. Those are the only things that it doesn't really gel with, but I don't know. I mean, Maelstrom Pulse is even pretty good. So I went with the Battle Mage so I could start doing damage to this guy, even though it's kind of crazy because he was having land trouble, though. Obviously, he hadn't laid the forest yet, so I wasn't sure which way this match was going to go. If he was having land problems the whole time, we would have been in really good shape. But I want to be able to do 2 damage to him right off the bat. We don't draw the land, which is fine because we can front on him off the Cultivate. We'll get to play 2 lands anyway, and that's how I always like to play Cultivate. Sometimes I forget to, but even if I had a land in my hand, I would go ahead and hold on to it, play this Cultivate, and then play the land afterwards. That way the opponent knows less about what our hand looks like, thinks that we got that land out of here. I have a lot of double red, so I need a second red even though I don't get it right here. And I actually have triple red, which I am not 100% mindful of all the time, but it is something that you need to watch out for. The problem with this deck, though, is we only have 4 black, so I went ahead and grabbed that. That's useless, pretty much. I mean, there is stuff in this deck that could target him. Whatever that Angry Roar, 2 and a red, and it does damage equal to my power, a creature's power to target opponent. That's really the only thing in this deck that's going to do it to him. I always play this friggin' dragon guy. I've got the full 4-pack in this build. I do all this main phase, so there's nothing this guy can play against me. It's bad form. See that all first main, obviously. Oh, except, never mind. Shit. I forgot what I played that had Cascade on it. This deck has not terrible cards. It's kind of frustrating. I don't know. This build works, but I know it's not going to work against a lot of the higher tier decks. And it's just frustrating because with just a couple of tweaks, this would be a really competitive deck. So he plays this thing, which is not a card that I'm super familiar with because I don't play it. It shits out like a wolf that's a named token, which I think is friggin' awesome because I love tokens. But I got a lot of stuff that's going to deal with this. I actually come up with a really good idea here. I don't know how good this guy is, but I'm pretty sure I can trick him right here because I got the Consume Strength in hand. And so it's worth a shot. The other play would have been to play that Haster and see if I could get blocks that way. But we're going to test this guy, see what he's got going on. Got the 3 mana up. Consume Strength is going to be sickening right here. It's going to deal an extra 2 damage to him because I'm going to select Bloodbraid Elf for the +2/+2. His guy gets -2/-2. Wipe field, extra 2 damage. He's down to 6. I mean, we're in business at this point. There's not really much he can do to stop us. And that's one of the things that really gets us going on this. Obviously, the fact that he had so many free turns early on is really what got us to this point where we were able to capitalize on that kind of play. But now there's nothing he can do, especially with the Haster in my hand. There's not really anything he could do to beat me because I've got the Maelstrom Pulse in the Haster. I can really take my time and choose which way I want to beat him. I'm going to do at least 7 damage to him no matter what. He's got 3 cards in hand, though, so there are a couple tricks he could have. So I go with this play rather than the Maelstrom Pulse. So I could save that for later. He could have the Pump. I mean, it's only counter target instant spell, and he had the Forest tap down. I don't know. I mean, Maelstrom Pulse would have worked there as well, obviously, because it only counters, Charm only counters instant spells. Thanks a lot for watching, you guys. I hope you're enjoying these. They're short, but they're good. Maybe. Thanks again. See you next time.